Today, we're diving into a story about a monumental race against time. It was this massive, urgent effort to capture thousands of American voices, right before they faded into silence forever.
It all kicks off with this line, right? I mean, it sounds like something straight out of a thriller, a filing cabinet deep in the Library of Congress filled with the voices of the dead. It's an incredible hook, and believe it or not, it's totally true. Just maybe not in the way you're thinking.
Because here's the crucial twist. We're not talking about old, scratchy audio recordings. Nope, these voices actually exist on paper. They're transcriptions, the raw, unfiltered words of people, captured exactly as they were spoken.
Just try to picture it for a second. Thousands and thousands of pages. Some of them are neatly typed up, others are just hastily scribbled down by hand. And every single page holds a piece of a life, a memory, a story from a totally ordinary person. This wasn't a collection about presidents or famous generals. It was an archive of, well, everyone else.
So you gotta ask, what was the big rush? Well, it all came down to a profound sense of urgency. An entire generation. You know, the folks who remembered what life was like before the turn of the century, before cars and electricity were everywhere, they were passing away. And their one-of-a-kind memories were literally vanishing right along with them.
The people behind this whole thing, they knew they didn't have time for a lot of hemming and hawing. The mission had to be immediate, it had to be direct. And the mandate they gave to the writers they sent across the country, it was this: so simple, so powerful. Get their stories before they're gone. This wasn't just about collecting data, you see. It was a full-on rescue mission for memories.
And this timeline, man, this really shows you just how incredible that pressure was. The entire project happened in this tiny 4-year window, from 1936 to 1940. It was just this frantic sprint to document everything before that whole generation's stories were lost for good.
So, who exactly was tasked with this historic mission? Well, it wasn't a team of buttoned-up historians or academics like you might expect. It was, for sure, an unlikely alliance, a group of people brought together completely by circumstance.
Officially, the program was called the Federal Writers Project. It was part of Franklin D. Roosevelt's New Deal, and its main goal, honestly, was to create jobs during the Great Depression. But it had this other, equally important mission: to create a huge self-portrait of America.
Which of course brings up a really interesting question. If the project was mainly about putting people to work, then who were the folks who actually ended up on the front lines of this memory-saving operation?
The team was this amazing mix of people. You had out-of-work journalists, novelists who had their own stories to tell, researchers who just needed a paycheck. At its heart, it was a program where everyday citizens were hired to go out and document the lives of other citizens. And that peer-to-peer connection is what makes these interviews so incredibly raw and authentic.
So after that 4-year sprint was over, what was the result? Well, it was nothing less than a completely new kind of American archive. It was this deeply personal, totally unique window into a past that otherwise would have been completely and utterly lost.
And the scale of what they actually accomplished is, well, it's just staggering. They collected over 2,900 individual life stories. That's almost 3,000 complete personal histories, and each one is like a single thread in the fabric of the nation's memory.
And this chart really gives you a feel for the project's massive scope. This effort stretched across 24 states. That's half the country back then. They went into bustling cities and tiny, isolated rural towns. It was a truly national effort to just listen. In the end, that's the legacy, isn't it? It's not just data points or historical facts. It's the living, breathing voices of a generation that saw a completely different America. And all of it, was saved from being forgotten, preserved on paper for all of us to discover today.
And that kind of leaves us with one final thought, one question for you. This project was about capturing the stories of a very specific time, but hey, everyone has a story. So if someone sat down with you today with that exact same urgent instruction to get your story before it's gone, what story would you tell?